Hi team, we have Sam Ford with us today. Sam has got a great deal of experience in women's health, and Sam's just going to give us a few pointers in general on not the bloke side of things, but more for the women, but how to sort of go about a women's health type of client.
Yes. Good morning, team. So when looking at women's health, I think a lot of people kind of just get stuck at the point of the pelvic floor. What do we got to do? So whether it's I think a lot of people think, we've got to do internal, we've got to do a thorough examination, and they get freaked out by that, looking at it from an anatomy perspective, because a lot of people just don't realize that there's so much more involved and how everything else is connected. The first thing that I've really learned about women is forming a good connection with them, forming a good base with them, and really just trying to get to know what is their main issue. Is it an actual, because that women's health issue does usually stem from something else, whether it be an emotional, mental, whatever. Obviously there is a physiological component as well, but when we start at the physiological, or you start at that problem level, it's really hard for them to get out of that stage or phase, because they keep just looking at the problem, and usually it's a problem that's been there for years and years and years and years. So when I find that when other physios look at it, they kind of try to, you do the ultrasound, you do all of these things, and you try to start putting probes in and all of these things to help them, help them strengthen things up internally. And I always say I found it more effective to start furthest away from their problem and actually just empower them and say, look at where you are strong, look at what's good about your body, look at, and so you take the whole body and kind of just give them, I usually get them onto the reformer, find their strength, get them feeling good in doing that, and then empowering them from that perspective and honing in from the outside in towards the problem. And from there, each week we have a goal where I say, right, highlight what you've done good this week, what you've achieved this week, and that kind of gives them, again, a better reflective perspective on, I'm actually getting better, I'm achieving things, I'm really ticking off boxes and saying, and even if it's just one thing where, because again, it's not always just the prolapse or the incontinence, whatever, it is the back pain associated with it, or everything in my life feels overwhelming or whatever. So once they can start ticking off all those other things, you find that you actually, your results and your goals with your strengthening of your pelvic floor or abs or back or neck, whatever, starts to improve a lot more effectively. So again, I say it's good to know the basics and whatever, but getting back into just the pelvic floor is not enough to give women what they need. So like I said, I think just approaching it from different perspectives according to what the patient needs, and then obviously getting into the actual issue. Okay.
Now this might be a bit general considering every client is different, but typically I wouldn't imagine these types of clients would be fixed within a week or two. So
no.
How long generally would you allow?
I would say generally I give them, because you want to give them a time frame as well going into it. So within 4 to 6 weeks, you want to get them to a baseline where they're feeling stable, where everything actually, whether, again, because most of them come in with either pain or weakness. So at that 4 to 6 week mark, we say to them, within a month, you should already feel better. And then from there, you give yourself
when you say better though,
better in terms of either feeling
not 100%,
not 100%, as in you have to feel that either my condition has improved or my pain has lessened.
And do you have outcome measures to determine that?
Yep. So we do an outcome to start, as again, depending on whether it is pain related or weakness related, we do a week by week, as I said, filling in the outcomes or getting them to have their own pain outcomes diary or things that they monitor week by week.
Well, and that's important too, because they obviously have their own.
They have their own, because again, a lot of them don't fill out that standards sheet, or it's not applicable to everybody. So I get them to make their own measurable goals, and each week sort of trying to tick that off so that within 4 weeks we can see that there is massive improvement. And then from there you're building on, because into then rehab, if there is a lot of weakness, you're giving them a very again, specific structured program month by month. So each month, I generally say within 1 month, we want to progress that. Within another month, we want to progress that. And by 3 months, you should see massive results. And that's usually a good realistic time frame for most females.
Okay. And will you tend to give them that treatment plan right from the start, or do you sort of do it month by month?
The treatment plan, you have to give it in the beginning. So you give them the expectations and the goals in the beginning, and then you say to them each week we will reassess whether that needs to change, but the actual program will change every month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yes.
So any other tips you have for women's health that you can think of?
Well, again, just I think empowering yourself in terms of not just doing women's health courses, but any sort of, as I said, like for me, strengthening, conditioning, Pilates, Reformer, I found it depends on what the woman is doing, because not everybody likes Pilates, Reformer, yoga, and that kind of stuff. So like a lot of them are doing intensity training or a sport like netball, whatever. So if you can try to get yourself involved or sort of educated in as many types of rehab as possible, so that you can hone your program into whatever they're doing to make it a lot more functional for them, I find their pelvic floor responds a lot better to that type of exercise.
But would you say sometimes their exercise might be too advanced and they really need to take a number of steps backwards to get the basics again?
Yes, so you give them that in the beginning. You say to them, like, I know you want to do this, but like for the first month, this is what we're going to be doing. Just the boring stuff, the basics, so that from there we can progressively take you to that point, and then into the 3rd month, that is the goal, to get you doing what you were doing before. So,
okay.
Yeah.